My guest today is Dr. Pandwe Gibson. She's got a Bachelor of Arts from Scripps College, a Master of Arts in Teaching and Learning from Claremont Graduate University, a Master's in Leadership from Harvard University, and a PhD from Claremont University. She's lived, studied, taught, and worked at such notable international universities as the University of Lausanne in Accra, Ghana, and Oxford University in Oxford, England. She received numerous awards and acknowledgments for her work, including receiving the key to Miami-Dade County from the mayor, noted as one of Miami's top 40 under 40 by the Miami Herald, named a Gulf Coast Center of Law and Policy Fellow, a Miami Fellow, and as a Leadership Florida Class 33 Fellow. That's a lot of accomplishments, Pandwe, and we have not even touched the surface. But you have created a company called Eco Tech Visions. And I met you at a wonderful event for the Commonwealth Institute, which is for executive women and so forth. And I was just intrigued because not only are you such an imposing and attractive woman, but such an accomplished one. So I want to welcome you, first of all, to the Women in Business Show. And then I also want you to explain to our listening audience what is Ecotech Visions and what is its mission.
Okay, thank you so much for having me on your show today.
Oh, you're welcome.
So Ecotech Visions is a maker incubator located in Miami's Green Corridor. So Chairman Monestein, the chairman of the commission for Miami-Dade County, about 5 years ago started the Green Corridor. And we unearthed that resolution and wanted to be a part of the county and the city's plan to move forward green businesses. So we are a space, a co-working space, where companies that do green manufacturing or products, consumer product-based businesses, can come, get support for their companies, grow their product market, get funding to grow their branding and grow their prototypes or develop their prototypes, and then eventually start manufacturing right here in South Florida.
Wow, that's quite something. I mean, there's a whole section of business and industry in Miami that is just not on my radar. So what motivated you to start this? I mean, you've got such a deep background in education and learning and law and so forth. So tell me, what made you decide to do this?
Well, it's actually always been my passion. So in the schools that I started, let me back up. So if you look at my degrees and sort of my academic background, I was always looking at researching and being a part of the sciences and finding ways to infuse innovation into the learning process, which is really what I do now. In terms of my professional studies, I studied how you scale and grow organizations. Initially, I was focused on scaling and growing schools, but what it takes to scale one organization is the same thing it takes to scale another organization. We opened the first CMO or charter management organization in New Orleans. So I opened 6 schools the first year, 11 the second, and 16 the third. The schools were highly successful. I was the founding principal of one of those schools, and they, again, were just highly successful. And I don't think I realized at the time that that level of rapid growth was something that was abnormal in the market. So I took that knowledge of how you scale from 1 to 6 to 11 to 16, and I started to apply that to businesses that could make an economic impact. Because let's face it, you can't ask children to focus on the periodic table and care about it if the only jobs in their community are service-based jobs like McDonald's. And in Miami, the largest employment industry is the service-based economy. However, that's not going to create an income to actually sustain families, to regrow middle America, which has always been a focus of mine and really should be a focus of everybody, because it's the only way to address systemic poverty and climate change. So at Ecotech Visions, our mission is to create jobs, sustain communities, and protect the planet. And I came to that because Those are the two most important things, or three most important things. If you look at the presidential debate right now, if you look at any polling, people are first concerned about the economic climate, second concerned about the environmental climate, and third concerned about education. I mean, that's just across the board from local to national polls. And so we really wanted to focus on how can we support and create solutions for that. And my skill set of growing organizations has been applied to that issue. So we grow green businesses. The best way to get people to care about the environment is to tie their money to it. And market-based solutions have proven to be the tide that changes culture and changes society.
Well, though, you really have to think outside the box, though, because, I mean, most people's minds do not go in that direction. So what has been your biggest success during your first year?
Oh gosh, we have several really exciting things to be grateful for. We actually just had our 1-year anniversary event where we highlighted all of our successes on November 20th this year. We graduated a coding class, so coding for digital coding, website development, and app development. So let me tell you the story of this class. We launched a class in Liberty City, which is one of the poorest neighborhoods in Miami. When we launched the class, and we're completing a vertical for a program called Launch Code. Launch Code is the Harvard, if you will, of coding programs. They have a 99% success rate of placing people into jobs that are within the high-tech field. There is a 1 million person shortage in the tech industry, and we said, if there's a 1 million person shortage and we have major unemployment in this community as high as 27%, why don't we start to try to fill those kinds of jobs? And so we started to look at what were the opportunities. We put out a call for applications. In 1 week, we got 107 applications. 107 applicants interested in learning about coding so that they can apply for these coding jobs. Now, these jobs start at $45,000 a year and can go as high as $150K a year. So huge opportunity. We're not talking about service-based jobs. We're not talking about a job at McDonald's or Walmart. We're talking about jobs where families can actually sustain themselves on it, right? So our class, we just graduated, and we have individuals ready to go into coding class. Our program is a 7-week program. They actually are presenting their projects next week, and we'll be moving straight into employment. We hope to have people placed in employment in the next 2 to 3 months, which is spectacular and exciting. And again, these are careers that people can move forward to. We also launched a major maker camp. So we were a part of the Miami Maker Fair. We have been a part of that from the beginning, the first Miami Maker Fair in the city. So really bringing part of the innovation that's happening in San Francisco to Miami, and having people be interested in it. Miami has a lot of carpenters, electricians, plumbers, people with that technical skill who can transition over to green collar jobs very easily. And what we do is we create the opportunities for them to do that.
You know, I think that's wonderful. I just spent Thanksgiving with my grandnephew, and he's moved up to California, and he has, he spent his high school year in Austria, and then he had a college year in Germany, and he's got a terrific, IQ, terrific average in school, all of that, and he must have sent in, he told me, something like 30 applications, and he has not heard from anybody. He has not been able to get a job. So there are lots of professional places, professional jobs that there's just no opportunity in. So it's interesting that you found the key to what is the opportunity out there.
Well, then that's exactly our point, that there are employment options, but the way to get into the tech movement is not the same system that people normally follow. So you don't necessarily get the job at Google from applying to careerbuilders.com or even submitting a direct application. You need an intermediary to be able to develop those relationships, and that's the role that we're starting to play for diverse communities. So our fellowship program And that particular program focused on individuals from Liberty City, but we're actually expanding that program to Miami Gardens, to other communities, to the Green Corridor moving forward, because again, there is a 1,000,000-person shortage in the tech movement. There are need for people to do this work, and it's high-wage jobs to start with, but people, one, don't know how to access them, or two, maybe don't have all of the prerequisite skills to be able to access it. So what we do is we help to fill that gap, and we connect people directly to LaunchCode that provides that employment immediately. So, I mean, they guarantee employment within 3 to 6 months of entering their program or completing their program.
Wow. So what makes a perfect client partner startup company? What are the ingredients?
Oh gosh, so we have 3 different programs. So if you're interested in our incubator or our makerspace program, you've got to have that entrepreneurial spirit and that drive. You've got to be interested. We have 23 amazing companies, ranging from an electric motorcycle company to a company that makes utensils out of potato called Earthware, to a company that develops living walls called Andromeda District. And each one of those entrepreneurs, they're hungry, they're aggressive, and they're really committed to the products that they've created and helping to saturate the market with them. So as an entrepreneur, we're looking for people who are aggressive. And if you know people interested in that, they can apply on our website at ecotechvisions.org. There's an application on there, and then they just email the application to the director of marketing, or you can contact us through the website also. If you're interested in our programs, which is our fellowship program, from the perspective of really looking for employment within the green or tech sector or the green tech sector, we're just looking for people who are willing to work, who are hungry, and who are committed to sustainability. And I don't even know that the commitment to sustainability is a prerequisite as much as it becomes a byproduct of their work, because let's take Earthware, for example. We brought people through the fellowship program to start working through Earthware. Maybe they initially didn't care about the fact that Miami-Dade County landfill is slated to fill up in the next 4 years, or maybe they didn't care about the fact that we've got major sea level rise and water pollution issues as a result of plastic, styrofoam, and other toxins. But they care now because their salaries are tied to it. Base salary in that company starts at $14 an hour. So we really are looking for people who want to do the work, who are blue collar, who want to shift to green collar, who are engineers, electricians, mechanics, who want to learn about solar technology and the opportunities within green energy fields. So people who are curious and willing to do the work. And then our final program, which is the Green Scouts program, is for college students or recent college grads. It's an internship and apprentice program where they get to work directly in these startup companies, and which leads directly to employment options. So again, we're looking for people who are hungry, who care about sustainability, who want full-time employment, and want to be in a position to maintain and sustain themselves and their families.
Wow. I mean, you've got really, something, you are so fortunate because with your background, you are the perfect person for this. I mean, your background is in education, but, you've really developed this whole entrepreneurial mindset, which is a combination of fantastic things. So what do you see as the biggest challenge for the startup business owner?
Well, the number one, and I actually just had an op-ed in the Herald this week, which was about this exact topic, capital. Access to capital in South Florida is extremely difficult, particularly for product-based businesses, which is what we're focused on. Nancy Dahlberg also did an article recently featuring several of our companies talking about the barrier to entry for consumer product businesses is capital, access to capital. We've had companies have major contracts with buyers like Target, upwards of $250,000, but not be able to get the line of credit to be able to fill the order. And you would think, hey, they have a contract, so why won't the bank actually give them the line of credit so that they can actually fill the order and start creating jobs right here in South Florida, manufacturing local products? But banks don't work that way. They don't rent to start up businesses. I mean, they don't provide funding to start up businesses. Banks require things like at minimum 3 years typically of tax returns, which a startup just doesn't have. So because it's by nature a startup. So really fluid capital access